signs by which you would lead us. As heirs of your promise, we seek to be guided by your eternal purposes, that the church may shine with your life and love for all. Amen.
A reading from the prophet Isaiah. Hear the word of the Lord. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. For darkness shall cover the earth, and thick darkness the peoples. But the Lord will arise upon you, and his glory will appear over you. Nations shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. Lift up your eyes and look around. They all gather together. They come to you. Your sons shall come from far away, and your daughters shall be carried on their nurses' arms. Then you shall see and be radiant. Your heart shall thrill and rejoice, because the abundance of the sea shall be brought to you. The wealth of the nations shall come to you. A multitude of camels shall cover you, the young camels of Midian and Ephah. All those from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and frankincense, and shall proclaim the praise of the Lord. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Amen.
After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, in the territory of Judea during the rule of King Herod, Magi came from the east to Jerusalem. They asked, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We've seen his star in the east and we've come to honor him." When King Herod heard this, he was troubled, and everyone in Jerusalem was troubled with him. He gathered all the chief priests and the legal experts and asked them where the Messiah was to be born. And they said, "In Bethlehem of Judea. For this is what the prophet wrote, 'You, Bethlehem, land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, because from you will come one who governs, who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the Magi and found out from them the time when the star had first appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search carefully for this child. When you find him, report back to me so that I too may go and honor him." When they heard the king, they went. And look, the star they had seen in the east went ahead of them until it stood over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with Mary, his mother. Falling to their knees, they honored him. Then they opened their treasure chests and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And because they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they went back to their own country by another route. Friends, this is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
The answers range from "in the sunset tonight" to "when the kids were playing quietly together" and "my dad is getting stronger" to "I had the whole day to myself with no crises." The question is a simple one with which I start off our monthly committee meeting. Where have you seen or experienced God in the last week, or the last month, or since we last met, or in this season? Now, I never name it Epiphany, but that's what we're after, if the truth be told. Where have you had an epiphany, a manifestation, the revelation of God in your life? Now, yesterday was officially Epiphany on the church calendar. It's the day after the 12th day of Christmas. It's the traditional arrival of the Magi from the east at that manger in Bethlehem. Some people don't add the wise men and the camels to their nativity scenes until Epiphany. But many more of us, I think, have all but put away Christmas. Certainly, decorations are down by the time Epiphany usually rolls around. I don't know about you, I always feel a little sad when I start to see all the outdoor lights taken down, the tree put away, the wrapping paper and tags, and special dishes and candles packed up for another year. But if Epiphany marks the end of our Christmas season, there's actually a lot more to it than that for us. Epiphany is, in fact, a whole season in the church year. It is the time from today through until Lent begins on Ash Wednesday. Epiphany often gets short shrift from us compared to the high holy seasons of Advent and Christmas, of Lent and Easter. But like my question to open the committee meeting, we could all use a little more focus, I think, on the small e epiphanies in our lives. Besides a day to celebrate those three kings and their treasures, what else is Epiphany? What does Epiphany actually mean? I liked these two definitions from my Cambridge dictionary. The moment when you suddenly feel that you understand, or you suddenly become conscious of something that's very important to you, and a powerful religious experience. Now, I would only argue that definition in terms of its gravity or magnitude. I don't believe that every epiphany is, in fact, a powerful religious experience, but I know, friends, that it could be. Part of my effort in asking the question I do before we begin a committee meeting is to get people thinking about where you are looking for God, where you expect to see God or experience God in your everyday life, not just for an hour at church on Sundays. You see, the more we can each find the epiphanies in everyday moments, the more we come to realize God's hand at work in our lives and in the lives of all those we love and care about. instead of simply saying, oh, it was a beautiful full moon the other night, if we can acknowledge that God, in fact, has shown us that moon, made us recognize that beautiful full moon, stopped us from our rush to the next moment, and caught us instead in this moment, and given us the gift of a beautiful full moon to catch our breath and maybe even thank God for it. The more we're living then in God's love. It's an epiphany, a glimpse, if you will, of God. Now the wise men who traveled a great distance to offer their gifts to the newborn Christ child were responding, in fact, to a gift that was given to them first. They were guided by a star, a sign from God, a physical manifestation in the heavens that led them to journey to a new place. They stopped along the way in their journey, asking others if they were on the right road, if this newborn king was really what they would find. But Herod, ruling over Judea at the time, perhaps working hard to convince his subjects of his own superior intelligence and skill at being king, was troubled by news of their quest, and he detained the Magi to get the real scoop on this potential threat to his power. He lied to them, in fact, claiming that he wanted information on the baby's location so he could go and worship him too. But the travelers caught on to his devious ways and did not follow through with his request that they return and report to him. They did follow the star, however, and it took them to the place where the child was. Their journey with the star brought them great joy. They fell to their knees and honored the Christ child. Having received that gift, that epiphany, that glimpse of God, they were moved to share their own gifts with him. And because we are told of 3 gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, we have filled out the story over the years to say that there were 3 wise men, 3 magi who brought the gifts. But friends, we know there may have been 2 or 10 or 20. The text never does mention how many magi, only how many gifts. So think for a minute about what a journey it must have been for those who first followed that star. They had no doubt risked their fortunes and their reputations to travel, only to have their purposes nearly thwarted and their lives threatened by a paranoid ruler. They had traveled to see royalty, and they were led to kneel before a simple baby born of poor parents in a strange, out-of-the-way place. So I wonder what stirred in their hearts to compel them to risk so much. What deep yearning for something other than what they had known led them to travel that far. And as I think of them, I find myself thinking of all of us and wondering at other journeys taken and what it is that makes such journeys possible or necessary, preferable even, to simply living the life that's right here in front of us. What sign in the sky, what communication or epiphany from God would make me go that far, that deep, to discover its meaning for me? It strikes me that those travelers to Bethlehem were simply living their lives to their natural conclusions. Apparently, their life's work was in fact studying stars. And when they saw a new star, which seemed to hold such great meaning, all they could do, if they were going to be true to who they were called to be, was follow that star. So having studied the stars, and having felt the prodding of one particular star to take this amazing journey, when they came to the place to which that star led them, they experienced an epiphany. They were met in that spot by God. It may well have been true that things were never quite the same for them again, perhaps even in ways that were not all that pleasant. We don't know the rest of their story. We do know that in that baby, they met the Holy One, God's own Son, and all they were doing was what they believed they were meant to do, made to do. Yet this was probably more than they had bargained for when they first started out. For packing up to travel to far-flung places was probably not in the job description they were first given. Indeed, in what they set out on here, and in what they experienced in and through their journey, there was a lot more for them now than sitting in a quiet, familiar place, taking notes on their parchment and sharing their insights about stars. And perhaps that's so for all of us. As we use and develop the gifts that God has planted within us, as we become just what we were made to be, with eyes and hearts open all the way, perhaps we too will get a glimpse of God, our own epiphany, if you will. So today I say, for those who teach, and for those who preach, and for those who visit, and those who build, and those who crunch the numbers, and those who nurture children, and those who sell promises, and those who clean, and those who invent, and those who heal, and those who you fill in your blank. Maybe just like those magi from so long ago, our first calling is simply to be who we were made to be. And then to keep our eyes and our ears and our hearts open to when we're called to step out in faith, somehow taking the gifts God has given us to their natural conclusions. Those times will come to all of us. That's guaranteed. And when they do, when we follow God's leading within and beyond them, it's a sure thing, this epiphany, that we will encounter God, perhaps in unexpected places and ways too. I think I can say with certainty that our lives will never be the same again. Now, maybe for some people you're saying to yourself, but not for me. God doesn't speak to me, not little old me. God may have spoken to me before, but not anymore. I'm past that time. Stars don't show up in my life. Epiphany is not exactly my cup of tea. But friends, today, on this Epiphany, I say to you, maybe you just haven't recognized it yet. Today, as we commemorate the arrival of the Magi, and remember that the gifts they gave to the Christ child, I want to give you a reminder of the gift they received first. The gift we all receive first. I've asked some of my confirmation friends to help me out, and so they will come forward with the offering plates, and I have for each person here a gift. The gift that I have for you is a star word. It's an Epiphany gift, so I invite you to take one as the plates are passed this morning. Simply help yourself to a yellow star and pass the plate on. Now there's a different word printed on the back of each star, but you can't go through and choose yours. That's part of the gift, not knowing what word you'll receive today. Take a star from the plate and pass the plate on, and see what gift you have been given to reflect on for this new year. I invite you today to ponder what significance your word might have for your life in this year. How God might in fact be speaking to you through this word. What I want you to do is take your star home. Put it somewhere that you will see it every day. On your bathroom mirror, on the edge of your computer screen, on your refrigerator door, maybe even on the visor in your car. I want you to let this word speak to you, reminding you of a gift of God and God's presence in your own life. You might want to look up your word in a dictionary so that you're clear on its meaning, or maybe you'll just let it rest with you until its message is revealed in some way. Now I realize, as with any other gift, my star words may be received with openness and joy, or they may be dismissed, or discarded, or forgotten. You will need to be intentional about responding to your star word, not just shoving it in your pocket or jamming it into the bottom of your purse, never to be considered again. Think of this star as an opportunity for epiphany for you. Maybe it's not a powerful religious experience, but a chance to reflect on how and where you might get a glimpse of God in your own life. And as you move through the next weeks and months, I'd be delighted to hear from you about how your star word has impacted you, whether it seems to fit or not fit, what it is saying to you, or if it is still silent. Maybe your word will create questions for you. Maybe it will bring you comfort. Maybe it will even challenge you. Maybe you'll even share an epiphany with another person in this family of faith. An experience of seeing God, feeling God, knowing God is at work in your life. So as you consider your star word, hold it in your hand now, please, and listen to this poem by Andrew King called The Star Signal. Not every journey toward the Christ starts like the Magi's in darkness, but there might come a time when, in the empty hours of an otherwise unremarkable night, you have happened to look up at the usual sky and noticed, almost by accident, between passages of gray beasts of slow-moving cloud, the bright bloom of a strange star flowering. And something begins to open a little somewhere beneath your skin, as if that new wedge of light in the sky had inserted itself into your soul. Not enough to cause you any hurt, but just enough that you feel a pang, the twinge of something like longing, as if your eyes in the silence have become ears in the darkness, and you're hearing a holy summons, distant but ringing like a silver trumpet in the chambers of your listening heart. And you gaze at that star where it stands in the sky, dropping dust on the night horizon, and you think it might be signaling a holy presence in the world and a road you can take to meet it. And that such a road lit with such a promise might lead to a great adventure where life becomes challenged and changed and as new as the sky above a better world. And so you pack, and you leave on this journey where Christ is not only waiting, but walking along your road at your side. And you follow that light as it closes the distance, as it reaches deep within you, touching gifts you carry in your hand. Friends, may it be so for each one of us this day